r/ruleshorror. Posted by u/MacabreLurker. Night Rules for Doefoot Ranch. The handbook has all major rules and regulations of living and working at the ranch. The last page at the back is for nighttime rules, specifically. 1. All animals and people are to be in their living quarters no later than 2 hours after sunset. Failure to do so will result in immediate termination of employment and all benefits to living on the ranch. 2. In case of an emergency that forces leaving the dorms or house, it is mandatory to grab your gun and report to the street light at the end of the road immediately. Stay there until dawn. 3. Do not bother returning to the property after nightfall. Just find a place in town to stay at and call to let the boss know where you are at. 4. Additional errands and jobs may be available for nighttime, 10 p.m.-5 a.m., at double or more pay rate. The boss will come to you directly about these opportunities. Additional rules have been written in different forms of handwriting and ink in the remaining space on the page and inside of the back cover. Don't talk to the straw hat guy. No idea who he is, but he'll fuck you up if you try to get too close to him. Get a long-range rifle with a scope for the hunting season. The boss will pay a buttload for what you can get from the roof at night. The ranch looks different the higher you go. Don't question it. If you think you see flashlights in the woods, you don't fucking ignore them. If the dogs run off in the night and some don't come back, don't go looking for them, they dead, RIP, bones. Night patrol isn't a thing here. Whatever's out there has a high prey drive. An arrow points to the previous rule: if anyone asks you to do a night patrol, they are trying to kill you. Be nice to the farm animals, they want to protect you. Don't go near the wild animals, though, especially the deer. Don't go outside at night, no matter what you hear. The crying animal is bait. Tip: get some booze to help you sleep. Don't be a drunk and the boss will be cool about it. Night pay is great. The paranoia is not. There are no deer on Doefoot Ranch. Written in small print at the bottom of the back cover, there's more. Ask the oldest ranch hand about staying safe at night. Roger slammed the old handbook down on the table, but Adams merely glanced at it. The younger man gestured to the book, frustration barely masking his fear. "The fuck?" was all he asked. Adams casually set his phone down and picked up the book. He opened it up, glanced at the last page, then clapped it closed and put it down again. "Congratulations are in order," the old cowboy stated. "You're the new night manager." Roger persisted. "The fuck?" Adams stood and pushed the book into Roger's hands. He looked calm, but his hands were sweaty and his grip was insistent. "Keep a hold of it until you memorized everything in it. Next time you let it out of your sight you won't find it again." "What the hell, Adams?" Roger demanded. "You know I don't like pranks or fucking around, so what's with the creepypasta bullshit? I've been here too long to be a newbie ripe for picking on. I ain't one for wasting my breath and you won't listen to me without proof. Just shut up and follow me, alright?" Roger grumbled, but obeyed. They left the long one-story house that acted as the ranch hand dorms and headed to Doefoot's main house. It was a 3-story, blue farmhouse with an irregular shape due to years of additions and renovations. This time of year, it was surrounded by the only green lawn for miles, as everything else had become brown and gold for harvest time. Adams led the way up through the house until they were on the roof. The roof of the house was odd, a flat expanse with enough space for a small table and chairs, a grill, and an outdoor storage chest. A couple of women Roger recognized as the property cooks were having a smoke break when they came up. One look at the men and they practically jumped to their feet to go back inside. "What's with them?" Roger asked. "They have their orders, same as us," Adams replied. "No more than 3 people on the roof at a time. If they see someone in weird clothes, excuse themselves and leave without looking back. If Get to the fucking point, old man." Adams was unaffected and chuckled as he went to the bulky plastic outdoor chest. He unlocked it, rummaged around, and pulled out a long dark case. "Keep that attitude and you'll last longer than most," Adams said. "Humor me, kid. Look out over the fields and tell me what you see." Roger did so. The ranch's house, dorms, and barns were clustered together in the middle of large pasture country, which in turn was surrounded by woods. Mountains were to the north, and to the south, a dirt road went from east to west. But as Roger looked over the land, he realized the view was a bit too good. "How tall is this roof?" he asked. "I feel like we're 10 stories up instead of 3. Adams made a non-committal grunt. "The fields look a lot bigger than normal. And, wait, is that a river? I didn't know we had a river on the property." The ranch looks different the higher you go. Don't question it. That's because we don't. A loud click made Roger jump and turn around. Adams had pulled out and assembled a sniper rifle from the long black case. Roger was mostly acquainted with handguns from his gangster days, but he knew a heavy-duty killer when he saw one. "Jesus, what the fuck?" Roger exclaimed. "What the fuck are you going to kill with that thing, Sasquatch?" "Get a long-range rifle with a scope for the hunting season. The boss will pay a buttload for what you can get from the roof at night." "I wish, at least Sasquatch would stay dead," Adams said as he checked the scope. Satisfied, Adams took a seat at the table and set the rifle down before him on the table. Roger came and sat across from him, glancing nervously between the gun and the impossible river. "Could you point that river out to me on a map, Roger?" "No, sir." "So we can agree that something weird is definitely going on here?" "Yes, sir." "Then shut up and listen. Doughfoot Ranch is not normal. A long time ago, late 60s or early 70s, there was a disaster here in Run. A major mining accident at Weston Gorge poisoned the water supply or something, wiping out nearly all the animal life and messing up a generation or two of townspeople. I say or something because the mining company put a gag order on what exactly happened. But that's a can of worms for another day. At any rate, water was bad, animal population plummeted, and even the local farmland was too rotten to grow much. The Doughfoot family was one of the affected farms, fresh Irish immigrants, 6 kids to feed and barely a penny to their name. But the dad, Mr. Doughfoot, was legendary for his stubbornness, so he stayed on. Next thing the kids know, he's up at all hours doing God knows what and making weird rules. Make bread with salt and leave it here and there. What to say and do with junk they found on the ground. Don't go to the woods at night. Run inside if you see any deer around, especially if they act weird. Never let anyone inside unless he or the mama were around, even if the visitor was someone the kids knew. It went on, but the family went with it cause Mr. Doughfoot could have an awful temper if you pushed him. While all that was going on, miraculously, the ranch got better. The harvest came in strong and full and the livestock he bred turned out as healthy and docile as a dream. Be nice to the farm animals, they want to protect you. People were jealous, grumbled about unfair luck or even devil worship. Maybe it was. We know Mr. Doughfoot was proud of his ancestors and a believer of fae and spirits. Maybe he tried using some of that old home country magic? One day, one of the daughters went to a friend's house and wound up breaking her arm falling out of a tree. Kid stuff, not pleasant, but still warrants a parent's attention. Except neither of the Doughfoot parents would answer their phone when the hospital called for them. Someone went out to the ranch to talk to them directly and found a goddamn massacre. Mrs. Doughfoot and all 5 kids were dead, torn apart and scattered all over the place by some vicious animal attack. Don't go near the wild animals, though, especially the deer. Mr. Doughfoot was nowhere to be seen, though. The police were called to take care of the crime scene and a search party was made and sent into the woods to look for Mr. Doughfoot. The popular theory was that he went nuts and killed the family himself. Didn't account for the animal wounds, but no one wanted to discuss that just yet. The search party never came back. No one knows what happened to them. The next night another party came to find the first group and Mr. Doughfoot. While wandering the woods, they kept seeing lights in the distance and voices, but could never catch up no matter how far into the woods they went. One guy nearly fell into a ravine and at that point they called the whole search off. The next day, like a sick little joke, the straw hat Mr. Doughfoot always wore showed up on the house's front porch. Don't talk to the straw hat guy. No idea who he is, but he'll fuck you up if you try to get too close to him. They gave up searching after that and the missing team was never heard from again. You might see them occasionally, but don't bother trying to get close, you'll never make it to them. If you think you see flashlights in the woods you don't fucking ignore them. You'd think all this fuckery would make the townspeople burn this whole place to the ground, but nope. Like I said, everywhere else was poison and desperate folk will ask the devil himself for alms when the Lord won't provide. Except whatever is going on here ain't either of those things, otherwise it would actually react to prayers. What is going on here? Roger asked in a nervous tone. He looked out from the roof again and was shocked to see it had changed once more. The eastern river had changed its shape. A rusty tractor sat out in the northern fields when there hadn't been anything there before. In the northwestern woods, light flickered across the bald trees, but he couldn't make out the source in the darkening twilight. Not sure. Whatever it is, it doesn't like being seen. It destroys any camera equipment set out to find it. People who stay out too long go missing or show up the next day in pieces. Go too deep in the woods and your map becomes useless. I used to think it was Wendigos, but even skinwalkers make a goddamn noise once in a while. I place my money on bad Irish magic or spirits, given Mr. Dofoot's background and all. And that's just the outside. Tell me, do you remember who gave you that handbook? Have you ever met the boss of this place? Like, do you remember his face? Silence reigned between them for a long moment. Roger heard the ranch dogs barking and howling up a storm in their kennel. It was dark out, but he couldn't bear to look out from the roof anymore. "Why are we still here?" Roger asked. His voice was small and frail in the darkness. "Whatever cursed Dofoot Ranch has also blessed it. We have always seen a comfortable profit. We have never been scourged by bad weather or sickness. The law doesn't even bother us, despite the number of missing people and animal attacks. You're not obligated to stay here, and most folks aren't even aware of the crap that goes on here at night. They're just grateful to have a fat paycheck and a warm bed." In short, Roger, greed. Plain old greed and desperation keeps people around. Another long pause as Roger slowly digested the information. Someone must have let the dogs out, because their barking was suddenly fading into the distance. If the dogs run off in the night and some don't come back, don't go looking for them, they dead, R.I.P., Bones. "Why, you said I'm going to be the night manager?" Roger asked. "Yep. Don't ask me who chose you or why. It's another one of those things we just can't get answers to. The job description is a bit fluid, but you have one main directive: keep whatever is in the dark away from the light and us humans. If anyone asks you to do a night patrol, they are trying to kill you." "Does that mean I'll have to go on patrols and stuff?" Roger tested. To his relief, Adam snorted, "Fuck no, kid, that's suicide. Just make sure everyone is in their beds or off the property by the time it gets dark and keep it that way. Maybe fire off a shot into the night if anything gets too close to the house or gets noisy. That's what the long rang is for." He shoved the sniper towards Roger. "You know how to use one of these things?" "No. I'll teach ya. For now, at least look through the scope and point it at one of the dark spots in the field. This is the only safe way to fight whatever's out there." Roger obeyed, struggling to hold the large sniper steady as he looked out over the fields. Lit only by starlight, the fields were a deep blue surrounded by inky black. Roger peeked through the scope at what he thought was just a fence post line. He nearly released his bowels, yanking the gun down and staring out over the fields, panting with fear. "There are no deer on Dofoot Ranch." I don't want to be the night manager," Roger said in a trembling voice. Adam shrugged as he took the rifle from Roger and put it to his shoulder, aiming down the sights. "Can't blame ya. Where are you going to go?" "I don't know, I don't have anywhere else." "Well then, just go with the flow until you do, alright? Follow the rules and you'll be fine. I was night manager for 10 years before the handbook found its way to someone else. I can help you." "What are the rules?" Roger asked frantically. The sniper let out a shot that sounded like an explosion in the night quiet. As the ringing lessened in Roger's ears, he thought he could hear the dogs in the distance as they barked madly and screamed. "First of all," Adam said, "exhale on the trigger pull.